Ooh, that looks tasty. Welcome, folks. Today the Hungry Gamer is back with another mini preview, and today we're talking about Unconscious Mind from Fantasia Games, designed by Yoma Zaxlaskas and Johnny Pack, and I am so sorry that I messed up that name, and art by Andrew Bosley and Vincent Dutrait. Now, before I go any further, I do have to say Johnny Pack is a friend of mine, and I've covered a lot of his games, and I, as always, will do my very best to be as objective as I can, and however, since he is a friend, that may result in me being either too nice in my evaluation of this game, or too mean as I do my best to be objective and I overcorrect. So just keep that in mind. And I will also say that I am doing this at the request of Johnny Pack. I've not had any contact with Fantasia Games about this, so whatever that does for you and your thoughts on my bias, there you have it. Anyhow, what is this game? This is a game that is ostensibly in the era of Freud, before Freud was Freud. He would get together with all these other doctors and they would have coffee and talk about theories or whatever. And we all know Freud and this whole thing about dreams. Really, this is a game about helping people work through their dreams as you're these different doctors. Now, here we go. There's a lot going on here. So I'll start out with, there is the main action selection board. And what you're going to be doing on that is, like any worker placement game, you're going to be picking different actions that you're going to take. However, as you can see, each of the workers you have is like a little speech bubble with a little point coming out of it. And that point is going to be placed down and point to a different one of those actions that are all around the board. And that's how you're selecting what you're taking. And so once a spot's blocked, it's blocked, but it doesn't completely block the ability because there's other spots around that you can point to. And of course, each player can only take each individual action one time, though you can drop two workers down at once and take it twice. And what that's going to do, and that's kind of going to take us over to the other part of the board, kind of the focus board, or whatever the heck you call it, which is this kind of cool circular thing with different colors, and each of those colors is your resource, and each one of those has three different types, and those actions that you're taking are going to allow you to progress these up the tracks there. They'll be getting stronger and stronger. Start at the middle, it's nothing, but then you might get a small red. You make that a medium red. You make that the big, huge flame at the end of passion, or whatever the heck it is, and you're kind of growing those things out, and you're going to be spending those as the resource that you're using. What are you going to spend them on? I'm glad you asked. You're going to spend those to help heal patients or help them work through what they're feeling. And each of those patients is going to have a certain number of resources that they need. And so maybe it's a big flame and a big bird or whatever. You can use those, and that's going to heal them 3 hearts. Well, great. So the 3 hearts will move, and at some point, you'll be able to take off of the top of the card this transparency, this kind of like Rorschach thing on the front, and you'll get a bonus for that. But then now their dreams are having a little more clarity is the idea, I think. So now you can kind of see more, and then they can work through the dream the rest of the way. And when you heal them, hooray, they understand what their dreams mean, and it's going to take that patient and go into your tableau. And of course, they have a power. It wouldn't be a good tableau without a power that you have there. And then you'll be able to draft more dreams and patients and so on to replace that. Well, wait, there's more. The next thing that's going on is you also have this rondel of you, your doctor, and Freud moving around the city. And one of the other actions you can take is to kind of move around the city. And wherever you stop, that specifically relates to an action that you're going to be able to take. And very simple. It's just a rondel. You're moving around, you're taking things, and you're able to do more or less of those actions depending on what you've built up in your tableau. We all know how a rondel works, hopefully. But wait, there's yet more, because you also have your own little individual player board. On that player board, you have a little rondel, a little ink pot that's going to be moving around, and there's a space for all these different tiles that you can buy off the main board, and they can go in there, and those are going to give you more and more powers that you're able to do. It's also going to give you the ability to get more workers. It's also going to give you the ability to get more of the little resources that you need in the game to heal all the different people and publish books and things like that. And you're going to be able to put these things into this 3x3 board however you want. And as you land on these different things with this other little rondel, you're going to be able to fire off these rows that you have as you're playing through to do all these different actions. Again, getting more resources, upgrading resources, downgrading resources, etc., etc., etc. Okay, we did it, right? No, because there's still more. There is the ability to get various papers that you have published. When you publish enough papers, you're going to be able to put them together based on color, but put them together into a book. And when you publish the book, you're going to get points for it and resources for it. And when you play the papers, you're going to get resources for it. But as you publish, hooray, you did it. However, once you publish, other people can then publish their own books by citing from your book. So they take one of the cards off of your book. You'll get paid points for that. But now they're going to use that to publish their own book. And they get their own points. So there's kind of a little bit of a thought of how you're going to deal with that as you're playing through. And so all of that is coming together to create this game about helping people understand their dreams. So what do I like about this game? First of all, I would be an utter fool not to say that the art is wonderful. The dreams are just beautiful. Love, love, love the look of this game. Again, I only have a prototype that I've been playing around with. I love the production of the prototype. So very, very confident that it's going to be beautiful down the road. I mean, the transparencies and the way those go over the patient and you pull them off. It's just all very, 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 very slick and very, very, very cool. Now, mechanically, there's some very clever things as well. I like the way the speech bubble workers work, the way you're putting them down and you're choosing what they're pointing at. I don't know, it's just clever. I like the way that works. The options that it gives you, you're still blocking spaces off, but you're not totally blocking someone off from getting anything they want ever. Very cool. I like that. You can want to do it twice. You can do it twice. It costs you 2 workers. And of course, I didn't mention this earlier, but when you pull your workers back, the more separate places you are, the more coffee you're going to get. Heck, I didn't even talk about the coffee. Coffee is like the end-all, be-all, help solve your problem resource. I love the coffee. I drink tons of coffee, and I love this in this game. It makes me like it more. So I like that. In fact, I like the game as a whole. I think my favorite part, because just thematically, it's so on point. I mean, I love you help them clarify their dream. You take the transparency off. Oh, that's really cool. And that's a fun mechanic. And, just getting your resources, contract fulfillment. But I think the one that I really like the most is the publishing of the books. Not because you can do it and get what seems like easy points. It's not, but you get these points. But the fact that you can cite from someone else's book, and they get paid for it. They get the credit for this idea, but you're using it to make your own idea, I think is just so thematically on point and does something that a lot of Eurogames struggle with, is to really integrate their theme. There's some Eurogames that have great theme that I love, and there's some that I just play all for the mechanics. And there's a few that, okay, the theme's there if you look for it and pay attention. But things like this, I think just, boom, really make this game thematically realized, more so than a lot of other Euro games. Now, to be fair, I've played this several times. I have not played this a ton, so maybe that is a little bit of gloss and luster that I have right now, but already I'm seeing the theme more so than I do in a lot of other Euro games. So what are my quibbles with the game? And here's the biggest one. Now, I know people are calling this a medium weight game. I think it's a bit heavier. I mean, it's a heavy medium game, if not a light heavy game. To me, people who say, "What are you talking about? Well, you don't know what you're talking." But no, I think it's got a lot of crunch to it. There's a lot of stuff going on in this game. As I've said before with games that Johnny Pax worked on, I do get some Lacerda vibes to it. I don't feel like this is a Lacerda game because I think it's easier to connect everything together, at least for me it is. But what I mean by that is there's a lot of different mechanics happening at once. There's a lot of things you're doing. You are doing your contract fulfillment with your books you're publishing. You are doing a different kind of contract fulfillment with your patients that you're curing. You're doing a tableau building by curing those patients and getting powers. You're doing a different kind of tableau building with the tiles that you're putting into your board that you're trying to fire off. You're managing yourself and Freud running around the rondel and your reputation going up. I didn't even talk about that and the way you are able to get more points off of that rondel, the main city rondel, as you're going. And of course, then you have your worker placement that you're doing, which is of course very clearly connected to all of those other things. That's a lot of systems that I just named. Now, I think they all come together very nicely. but it's a lot of systems. And you can find yourself hyper-focusing on one and kind of shooting yourself in the foot. It can be hard, at least at first, to realize how these things interconnect. How am I going to use all of them? And I think you're able to do that. I think you're able to grasp it. At least I was able to grasp it. But it's not a game that you're going to necessarily grasp on the first play. I just don't think it is. I think you're going to have to play through a few times before you're like, oh, I see how all of this works, which means you have to play through the game a few times before you're really going to know what you fully feel about the game. And I just think that's something you need to keep in mind. Like I said, I don't throw out lightly a comparison of this style of game to Lacerda games. People love Lacerda games, right? I mean, he's Lacerda for a reason. So I don't throw this out lightly. However, there's nobody in the world that's going to be like, oh, you haven't ever played games before? I know, let's play Kanban, right? No one is saying that. You work up to it. Now, this is not that heavy, but in that realm. So there's a lot of crunch here. I think for me, of all the games I've played that Johnny Pack has worked on, and I played, I think, most of them, I think this is the heaviest one. Now, it ain't Feudum, right? It ain't Kanban. It's not On Mars or anything like that. But just something to keep in mind. This is a crunchy game. You're going to enjoy it, but you got to work through the crunch and know what you're doing and know what you're getting into. But really, that's it. That's my only quibble I have with this game so far. I think everything that it's doing works really well together. I think if you are somebody that likes a crunchier Euro, that likes a Euro that has a little bit of theme in there and is actually hitting that theme, then this is one that you're going to definitely want to check out. But yeah, that's all I got. If this is a game that you think you're going to get to the table 3, 4, 5 times, well, and more, obviously, you get a game you love, you want to play 30 times. But if you're thinking you can get this to the table often, then all these systems and the crunch of this game are going to pay out for you. If you're looking for the heavy Euro game, this is one to check out. It does some really, really cool stuff. And I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to playing it again. So there you have it, folks. That is Unconscious Mind. As always, if you found this video useful, please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.